Ladies and gents, we salute you. This is Oliver. I'm in a bunker I call Studio 72, deep behind enemy lines. And we're live. We're live. It's Friday night, July 25th, 2025. Just kind of wanted to check in with everybody, see how everybody's doing on a Friday night. I do have just a brief little, can you see that? It's kind of blurry. This is all planetary lineup for tomorrow. And it looks kind of active, and you take that for what it's worth. You're like, bro, what's the deal with you and astrology? Well, I can't, that's a whole nother video. And I've done other videos on that, little bits, but it's like little tools in a toolbox. But when I see things that are squared up, bad alignment, planets and the moon, planets and Earth or the sun, we're coming out of a new moon, which is really intense. New moons can be just as intense as full moons. And often there's issues, but it's not always consistent. But just briefly here, and then I'll dive into what I want to talk about tonight. It looks like this is West Coast surfer time. So it looks like it's 6:20 East Coast. 3:20, the moon is squared Uranus. Uranus is in Gemini. Now that squaring, it's kind of a bad positioning. It's different than being aligned. It's indifferent with being conjunct next to. So that's kind of a head up at 3:20. And then pow, there is the moon with Saturn at 5:11, the moon with Neptune, 5:41. And then it does something with Pluto. And I think Pluto is way overrated. I don't know why people give it any merit. It's a piece of gravel that's too far out to affect us. But the mythology of Pluto, it just keeps going in. So I actually ignore and do a hard pass on Pluto. But those three planets in bad position with the moon, which is around Earth, I would anticipate some serious, intense things going down. Could be war. More than likely when we're in World War, it could be war, but it could be other conflicts. It could just be other domestic situations. It could just be people losing their damn minds. Have you noticed how many people are just losing their damn minds? Okay, so what I wanted to do is I'm not going to do a super long one. Okay, just looking at some sort of message at the bottom there. Hey, Matthew, good to see you. It's a little bit strange at the bottom. Sorry about that. You may not even actually be able to see it. But what I want to talk about tonight, and that's what the header is, Trump signed an executive order. And I kind of thought, what's up with that? And there's a lot of, just like with neoliberal and Democrats or whatever, however you want to, I hate the boxes. I hate putting people in boxes, man. But you've got to break it down in demographics. It's like, sorry, not sorry. But, there's been a whole bunch of knee-jerk reaction. There's different groups that are saying, hey, whoa, you're just going to arrest people on the streets? Well, who's going to arrest people on the streets? The feds are going to do arrests? No, they're not going to have the National Guard arresting people. It's about money. It's about the states and about the counties. If you want those federal money, everybody needs the money. Everybody wants that money, right? Yes. So it's kind of like the tariffs. Donnie's doing a dangle. That's how I see it. I kind of interpret it. And so first I want to do a US Today article about it. I'll try to blast through. I know personally, people start reading shit to me. It's like I nod off and I'm like, I'm out later. If that happens, it's all good. No problem. No hard feelings, because I'm the same way. But I do want to read that article. And it's from yesterday. Today's the 25th. It was from the 24th. And then briefly, I looked at the executive order. And so I'll just kind of skim over that a little bit. Looks like there's 5 sections to it. And then there's another. It's interesting because where this executive order came from is actually a Supreme Court decision. And the Supreme Court decision was it came out of Oregon. It came out of Grant's Pass, and it was 6-3. The Supreme Court said cities do have a right to arrest houseless people, vagrants on the streets. And so this has been a long battle for years and years, at least a decade. It may be 2 decades in Portland, Oregon for us. Huge issue. We have always had a large homeless population because, in my opinion, the insane amount of rents and the lack of availability. They have never built low-income units. And what they're building here in Oregon and Portland is they're building affordable housing. So, and it's not affordable. So, it's like, really, it's for the teachers union, it's for the police, it's for the people they're trying to recruit. Really, that's how I see it. Now, you could call me biased and jaded, and you'd be correct. No, I am a little biased and jaded with the politics in Portland. If you've been in Portland for 50 years, you would be too. In fact, some people are far worse than I am. They can't even smile and laugh it off anymore. I'm still smiling in the face of all of the Scirocco warm desert winds and dehydration. Speaking of hydration, cheers. Whatever you guys are drinking, I'm drinking water.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected. That's amazing.
But Friday night, you guys can be drinking anything you want. Corgi Dog Guy, good to see you. Joanne Robinson, hello, my family. I'm Junior. Good to see you, Joanne. Joanne, that's a beautiful name. Listen, Joanne, I got to say briefly, that's my family matriarch's name. That goes back to great-great-grandma. Great-great-grandma was her middle name, but she went by her middle name. Then my mother, middle name, Joanne. My sister, April, middle name, Joanne. And then my daughter, Raquel, middle name, Joanne. Love the name Joanne. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. It's a beautiful name. So what I wanted to do, I just wanted to break it down. We've got 14, 15 people in here. Good to see everybody. Feel free. I'll try to address the comments. When I start reading, I'm going to do 3 things. I'm going to read the USA Today. This is about Trump's executive order on Houseless, and he's got a weird framing on it. Okay, so check this header out. The WhiteHouse.gov, ending crime and disorder on America's streets. Ending crime and disorder. It kind of has that Crime and Punishment feel, doesn't it? Like a big 8-inch Russian, Tolstoy type of Crime and Punishment, ending crime and disorder. Well, good luck with that, right? Ending crime and disorder on America's streets. Good luck with that. That's a noble cause. I mean, you got to give them some credit for at least giving it a go. It's a very bizarre. And, that's the thing with these executive orders, in my opinion, is it really doesn't matter what you dictate to the people. It's what actually sinks into the hearts and minds of the people, right? And what is applied. What are the locals going to do? Yes, they got to do these you're going to create these little loopholes for them to jump through so they get the federal dollars. And everybody needs the federal money, especially now with what looks like kind of a recession type of thing that we've been in for years. So that's kind of what I wanted to lay out. If you don't know, or I'll repeat myself, is I've been in social service work for years. 20 years ago, I worked with Houseless and at-risk youth in emergency night shelters. I was a night counselor, and then I was a residential advocate. So it's in my blood. It's in my history. It's in my background. Plus, in addition to that, I've experienced being displaced being ran out of my own hometown of Portland, Oregon. I've been displaced from neighborhoods. We got pushed out of Southeast. We were out into Northeast. Then the artists, we set up an art community, and we stopped the gang. Pew, 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 pew. But the part of that gentrification, I kind of feel like the city kind of used us artists to kind of gentrify the neighborhood, right? And get the crime down. Then once they were done with us, they kicked the artists out of Northeast. And then all the houses, property went up, so we couldn't afford rent in North Portland anymore. So, and then we got pushed out to East. And then now we're really being pushed out. A lot of my friends, artist friends, have been driven out of the city. And I hear this story over and over and over again along the entire West Coast. It's Seattle's dealing with it. San Francisco. Frisco's worse than we've got it here in Portland, from what I understand. I mean, we're talking about $3,000 studios. Studios here are right now are about 12 to 1,500. And that's if you get in, if you can find one, if you can get in on one of these affordable type of things. There's varying degrees. You might be able to get lucky and find something else. But so let me just dive in here and quit jabbing along about all that. When's the turkey dropping? Right? Good Lord. That's exactly what we need is we need twerking. You don't want to see me with my shirt off, trust me. But I'll tell you, I mean, Kamala had twerkers on the campaign. Remember Kamala and the twerking musicians? That was awesome. Really awesome. Okay, so here it is. Trump signs order pushing cities and states to remove homeless people from the streets. So I don't know how you're going to force people to do that, except for with bribes, with the money, like bribes saying you want federal dollars. So this one here was Joey Garrison's USA Today. It was the bad. I mean, USA Today. I mean, all mainstream media, right? Don't get me started. President Donald Trump took executive action on July 24th, making it easier for cities and states to remove houseless people from the streets. Trump signed an order directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek to reverse federal and state judicial precedents and end consent decrees that limit local and state governments' ability to move homeless people from the streets and encampments into treatment centers. Now, I like that. I mean, treatment centers. The thing is, what treatment centers? Where are the treatment centers, Donnie? Right? Where are they? And you're understaffed. We don't even have them built in Portland. I don't think Frisco or LA's got very many. I'm asking Steve Hilton. Steve Hilton's running for governor. He's a Republican, and I think California needs a little Republican vibes. I don't know. How about you? Where are you guys at? You guys familiar with California? Gavin Newsom he's termed out. He's tapping out. So some saying he wants to run for mayor. But where are these treatment facilities? That's what I'm saying. It's one thing to issue an executive order. It's one thing to command. It's another thing to actually have something set up in system to actually accommodate. And it's a wonderful idea. Hell, I've been demanding, lobbying, begging for treatment centers for Portland for decades. We need them. And people say, well, we've got one here. There's a detox and there's beds open. What's missing is actually the deterrence, where you have either the police that can take them there. And that's kind of what this executive order is suggesting or implying, kind of flirting with, is they're actually saying you've now got the right, in large part, as I said early on, from the Supreme Court ruling. And it came out of Oregon, came out of Grants Pass, 6-3. And it passed saying police, cities, counties have the right to remove or arrest or penalize homeless camps, which is a huge contentious issue here in Portland, especially. More of the conservative areas like Grants Pass down south, a lot of the conservative areas, it's not as contentious. They just want them gone. And people just want homeless people to just go, like, poof, gone. They don't want to build low-income housing. You ask Oregon Republicans, they don't want a penny. They don't want a penny to build housing. They bitch and whine about all the money going into the houseless. So it's quite a battle. That is a huge hurdle, an obstacle to winning the hearts and minds of conservatives to where they actually will free up funds for treatment centers. And in my opinion, you need housing vouchers. You can get someone sober, you can get someone detoxed, but then you've got to keep them off the street, because the street is full of drug addiction. You'll go right back into it if they're on the streets. They got to have a place to hide out, which is a unit, a studio apartment. They need a place to remain sober and separate themselves from the drug dealers that know them by name on the street, from the other users and the friends that they've been using from. This This is Rehab 101. This is basic psychology of drug addiction. You have to separate yourself from the places you were hanging out. You have to separate yourself from the people that were bringing you down and you were using with. It's just 101. You with me? Okay. So Trump signed an order. Okay, I don't want to repeat myself. This move about the treatment centers, first reported by USA Today. Oh, USA Today gets this breaking story. Come on, guys. Also redirects federal funds to ensure the homeless people impacted are transferred to rehabilitation. Yes. Yes. This is the first domestic agenda executive order that I can think of that's come out of this Trump administration. Biden didn't do this. The Democrats didn't do this. No, Obama was stuck on harm reduction, which harm reduction is mentioned in the White House executive order. Harm reduction, this housing first, which I beg to differ. Housing first, jail is housing. Treatment is housing. Low income is housing. That's housing first. So it's semantics. Obama meant housing first was you drop in the Fentanyl yoga smokers, drop them in the units, and then we'll talk about them sober. Then we'll talk about treatment. Then we'll talk about this. We're going to let the federal funds flow. We're going to let all the federal dollars flow, right? First, federal funds first in the housing. The problem was a number of things. Number one, you can't put drug addicts in units and expect them to maintain the unit. Right? Whoa! I mean, there's a deep thought. Come on, guys. It's a good-willed intention, but you've got to have people that have a will to live and a will to draw up a plan for the day other than smoking fentanyl or smoking what other goody two-shoes they've got in store. It doesn't work out. It sidetracks. You know, you can see the people that have been smoking fentanyl all morning long. You know, they're exhausted. They are exhausted. 4A Farm says Trump number one. Let me tell you, this is big. This is big. For me, why I voted for Donnie was peace. He's broken that peace. That's how he lost a lot of us. Temporarily, not like hating him, but stepping back going, whoa, bro, you're turned into a Lindsey Graham. Hey, bro, you're a John McCain. Hey, whoa, bro. We don't need that shit. We need world peace. That's what Biden brought us to, was close to a nuclear holocaust. That's why we criticized the shit out of Biden. And a number of reasons. The whole people around him. It was really Obama running Biden, wasn't it? I don't know. Down the rabbit hole I go. But so it redirects federal funds to ensure the homeless people impacted are transferred to rehabilitation, treatment, and other facilities. Where are the facilities? We've got to build them. We need the money to build them. That's all it is. I mean, Governor Tina, bless her heart, not trying to get all Southern boo-boo on her. But, I mean, I really do mean it. I mean, bless Tina's heart. She has, not that there's all kinds of problems. But Governor Tina has stepped up and she has seen the importance, and she sees the infighting here of the Democrats, the county, Multnomah County Democrats fighting the Portland City Council, and it's like back and forth. They're handing out tents, and then City Council is spending millions of dollars to remove the free tents, and then all the spoons and smoking paraphernalia and the foil and everything that was handed out by Multnomah County, we got to sweep all that out and put it up in dumpsters. This is what's been going on in Portland for 10, 15 years. Back and forth. Free pipes, free tents. No, you can't. You're blocking the sidewalks. A lot of people don't realize that we had lawsuits. The city of Portland got sued. We got sued, just like Grants Pass got sued and filed a litigation and went to the Supreme Court. We could not, the ADA, those with disabilities said, you're blocking our sidewalks and we can't get our wheelchairs through. You're in violation of the American Disabilities Act. ADA sued City of Portland and won. Yes, they won. It's illegal to camp on the city sidewalks because the ADA sued in court. To get your point across in today's time, probably forever, you have to litigate. You have to sue, not just to be a prick, not just trying to be a bad guy. You have to sue to make the changes and hear your voice, have your voice heard. I can hear my voice. Case closed. Ben Tarr, Jeffrey Epstein, B. Fidel, Jeffrey Epstein. You guys want to talk about Epstein? Epstein? You guys think he's dead? I don't know if Jeffrey's dead. Was he? I mean, his ear. Did you see the shot? His ear was different, and his nose. Jeffrey had a sharp nose, kind of like mine, but the guy on the gurney who was purple had a rounded nose and a weird ear. I don't know. Down the rabbit hole I go. Here we go. Case closed. And blocking all aid and starving children that aren't addicted is better. And blocking all aid and starving children that aren't addicted is better. Speedy Gonzalez, I think you're making a pretty valid point. If I hear what you're saying, let me interpret it. You're saying the children, the poor children that are along for the ride of parents that are not doing well and on the streets, and you're saying cutting that aid to help them is going to starve them out, and they're not addictive. And so does this help? Does this make things better? That's the argument. You've hit it. If I'm interpreting you right, that's exactly what they're debating. And that's what the critics are kind of saying is they're coming back and saying, does this really help it? In fact, I'll see if I find the quote. I'll come across it here. People are saying that this is going to make Houseless situation worse because it's implying restrictions you can't be using to go into a shelter. You can't be using to maintain your federally subsidized unit. See? So it's saying that those people need to be booted. It could be interpreted that way because the federal dollars are in jeopardy. So, I mean, screw interpretation. It's point blank saying that. I'll read that executive order. Vincent Tedesco, do you see how that question that you were just asked that has no controvert? Do you see how that question that you were just asked that has no controvert? I think I hear you. I think you hear you. What do you mean? Was it controversial? Everything could be controversial, brother. It's all controversial, brother. Let me see here. Dropping down. This is still USA Today. Under the order, which the White House has titled Ending Crime and Disorder on American Streets. Ending crime and disorder. Right? You try telling that to the anarcho-communists. They can't have disorder anymore. What I'm trying to say is the world is run by computers. How about we do everybody a favor and not act like one? True. Right on. And there's a lot of bots. Like we do get swarmed. I get swarmed with a lot of bots and profiles. And with AI, they're actually thinking on themselves. You know, they're independent. Computer here. All right. Sint Wuan. Computer in the house. Keep reading. All right. Here we go. I'm reading. Here we go. White House, or no, what is that? Ending crime and disorder. Every time I read that, I'm like, what the fuck? Come on. Bondi is also required to work the Secretaries of Health and Human Services. Great, good. That's Maha, right? Isn't that Bobby? Isn't that Bobby Kennedy Jr.? Housing and urban development. Hello, we need housing vouchers. Where's the low-income housing? Where's the housing vouchers? People will get clean and sober, but we got to have a place to put them afterwards. Don't we? I think we do. Enforce prohibition to open illicit drug use. Enforce prohibitions on open illicit drug use. That's huge in Portland. Portland looks like an open air opium den, or at least it did. And I think it does still in some places. I've seen a little bit of something in some places, but 3 years back in the middle of COVID, I went downtown and it was like several hundred people. All like, this zombie, I call it Fentanyl yoga. They're doing stretches. The body shouldn't stretch like that. The body not supposed to go down like that. If you're a trained yogist, maybe, but these guys are not trained with yoga. We're not computers. And then when you ask a question like you should let kids starve, no, we should not. No, we should not. Hell no, we shouldn't let anybody starve. Come on. Listen, I want to cook everybody some cheeseburgers right now. I wish I could. I'd send them to you. I got some cheeseburgers too. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, isn't she a beauty? God, I love her. I mean, she's gorgeous. I'm beginning to wonder if she's telling me the truth, though. That hurts. That hurts the integrity. in a statement to USA Today, said Trump is delivering on a commitment to make America safe again and end homelessness across America. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to take more than executive orders, but it starts with an executive order and leadership. By removing vagrant criminals from our streets and redirecting resources towards substance abuse programs, the Trump administration will ensure that Americans feel safe in their own communities and that individuals suffering from addiction or mental health struggles are able to get the help they need. That's Leavitt. That's a little cutie. USA Today called her, and she did an actual quote for them, if I'm reading that correctly. So they got a picture of a bunch of homeless camps and a guy sweeping up garbage. That's all across America. It's really across West Coast. Trump's actions follows major Supreme Court decision on homeless camps. Here we go. This brings it back to Oregon. This is our turf. This is my hometown. Home state. Trump's action comes from the Supreme Court ruled in June, last month, that people without homes, isn't that a nice way of saying it? People without homes, right? Houseless, can be arrested and fined for sleeping in the public spaces, overturning a lower court's ruling that enforcing camping bans when shelter is lacking is cruel and unusual punishment. So the previous court, lower courts, said if you don't have a shelter and you don't have low-income units, you can't force people from blocking the sidewalks, which the ADA lawsuit said you had to. Vincent Tedesco. Reformista, terrifying the whole world is a huge mistake. God, it feels like that sometimes, doesn't it? It's hard to stay optimistic. You really got to work at staying optimistic. Vincent Tedesco, I love that name. The only tool that's going to get drug addicts of drugs and homeless people out of the street is hope. Once they know that there are tons of jobs, they'll clean themselves up and get back out there. Good point. And then ski bum, man, I'm a snowboarder bum. We got lots of mountain skiing here. Where are you at, ski bum? You skiing? It can't always be about the size. Sometimes the soft ones are better, especially in the morning. It can't always be about the size. All right. So we got Trump's action can be arrested, lower courts. All right. 6-3. The 6-3 decision, that was the Supreme Court, 6-3. I think you can guess which three of the ladies. Oh, I said it. Which of the three of the Supreme Court justices that didn't like that? Split among ideological lines in the conservative majority court upheld a ban in Grants Pass, Oregon, prohibiting homeless residents from sleeping outdoors. Homeless residents of the southern Oregon city of 38,000 faces fines starting at $250 and jail time for repeat offenses. Things are out of perspective. Rent is $2,000 a month in New York for one-bedroom apartments, but salaries are only $20 an hour. Absolutely, Vincent. If you're on the East Coast, it's the same story here on the West Coast. The entire large city West Coast. Seattle, Portland. Then you got Frisco and then San Diego and all the little ones in between. It's the same story. Not only are they that high, there's not enough of them available to even meet the demands of them at that height and rate. It's outrageous. Is a lower fucking rent or raised salaries, you got to bring things to an even kill. I agree. That's really going to be the issue. And it's the same issue with the middle, one more notch above, the middle income. How you can lower the Fed rates, like Donnie keeps putting pressure on getting the Federal Reserve to lower the interest rates. That helps with the home buyers, right? People can refinance, they can afford a house. It's at 7 or 8. You'd be a fool to buy a house right now unless you didn't pay cash. If you're not wealthy and have cash, forget about buying a home right now because the interest is so high, you're going to get screwed in the long run. So how do you bring that interest rates down? And then how do you bring the housing demand down, which there'll never be a lower housing demand? How do you make that work so people, younger Gen Zs, the millennials, how do you make it available that they can actually have a slice of the American dream? How can they get into this home ownership and American pie and have a piece of private property? That's the American dream, is private property. Am I wrong? How do you do that? You can't just lower interest rates and poof, all of a sudden a $500,000 home is now affordable and it's $220,000 or whatever it is that people can afford. No, it doesn't happen like that. Epstein's list will cause a mess in the office. It might. Oh, reformista, it might. Raised salaries means you pay more in taxes and the cost of living will go up. Bingo. Horace Stark. Laura Laura Schermerhorn just bought a house, paid cash, soon to close. Oh, Laura, God bless you. You know what? I'm jealous, but we're not haters. We're not haters. Congratulations, my friend. You have seized the American dream. It's wonderful. I feel very, very blessed. I feel blessed for all of my friends. See, I have a certificate in property management. So I'm a couple credits away from being a broker, but I abandoned it 10 years ago when my daughter after she was born and I went through college and got all that. I was like, I don't want to work with the banks. And then COVID hit and everything changed. So I understand the real estate markets. I understand. Now I find myself back where I was 30 years ago, screaming and yelling, we need low income units, not affordable. I'm tired of this affordable word in use. It's not affordable. What they're building is not affordable. We need low income. If we're going to build, it's got to be done where people can get in. Young people can get in without that credit, without that cash, without that generational heritage and wealth. You've got to have a place for them to go. Move to Metropolis, Illinois, and buy a house for cheaper than you ever can imagine. Well, that creates issues too, Alex, right? And that's what a lot of people have done. You got the suburbs. That's what I would do. I can't imagine being in South with pew, 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 pew. I can't imagine it. Portland was like that in the 80s when we had the crack epidemic. It was brutal. I mean, there was bloodshed. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And of course, it was the usual suspects with the gangs, all social engineering, with CIA running the shit up from South America. And let's see here. What is this? And I can promise you my purchase had nothing to do with our president. What now? Okay. I'll tell you how you make it work. Try Epstein Island. Oh, God. Do you know Jesus Christ? Yes. Praise God. I love Jesus. Who's got a problem with Jesus? Jesus is just all right with me. I'm 63 old, and when I started working at 15 years old, minimum wage was $3 an hour. Vincent, the elder in the house. Much respect, brother. Psalm 16:11. Are you saved? Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. My whole life. My whole generational, we've got a long line of Christians. Now, there's different kinds of Christians. Not all Christians are the same, and I'm not a hater. I'm just saying there's a lot of cult-like Christians, like up in northern Idaho, that I kind of fled from. But I found my own footing. I read my scripture. I don't think you have to go to a church to be a Christian. I don't believe that. Some people do. And there's Catholics that have got their rituals. Not a big, but it's okay. My daughter's mother's Catholic, and I got no problem. I'm not a hater, okay? 45 years later, minimum wage went up to $10. Low income is a trap, my friend. It's based off your income, and if you make too much, you can't move in either. Don't make enough, and you're fine. Start making room, and it'll be hard as hell to get out. Absolutely, Alex. You're very smart. The trap, though, is what they're calling affordable housing. It's not affordable, and they have the same caps on the affordable housing. So you've got affordable housing that's $1,500 for a studio, $2,000 for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and then there's an income cap. So it's exactly as you describe it, but you can't even get into it. It's like this catch-22. It's not affordable. That's why I'm using words like low income. It doesn't mean ghetto. We can build new units that are low income. It just means it's based off of your income. If you make more, you'll pay a little more for the rent. Doesn't mean that we're going to deny you. If you're low income, if you're disabled, if you've got medical conditions, if you're fighting for your life, there's a lot of people. I'm in 100 units here where I'm at now. Everybody here has got some issues going on, and it's affordable housing. It's not affordable. And every year the rent goes up $100. So I've been here 5 years. That's $500 increase in the affordable housing. I'm being outpriced out of my unit. I'm being outpriced out of my city. And this is the Democrat policies and mantra. It's affordable. It's affordable. We got to build more affordable. The answers to all of our problems, it's affordable housing. No. It's that framing of affordable housing, and that's all we're going to build, that's actually created 15,000 people living in tents in the city of Portland now. It's doubled from last year, which was 7,000 people living in tents with blue tarps. I call them blue tarp cities because the county was handing them blue tarps, handing them a $500 tent, and then, you got your pipe and your foil all handed by the county. Off they go, and then they light fires and campfires. And we've spent tens of millions of dollars from the fire department that's had to respond to half of all calls from the Portland Fire Bureau are right directly to illegal encampments. Half of all of them. So not only are we getting hit on both ends of tents and then cleaning up the encampments by the city and costing millions and millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to clean up the encampments. And then you've got all the expensive, you've got police, and you've got the fire department and the ambulance. All of that expense is coming from Houseless. One group, one crisis of Houseless. If they had a voucher for $1,000 in a studio apartment or $1,200 for a one bedroom, and we had the low income, that's why I call it low income. If you had that there, you had that available, we would save $100 million right off the Portland Fire Bureau budget to boot. So that's the issue. That's my perspective of I see what the crisis is here. People point out, usually conservatives on X, but they're valid. People point out that it's an NGO, it's a non-government organization racket. In the shelter industrial complex, they're funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into shelters, which are pads on a church floor, on a dirty, cold church floor. Maybe the heat's on if you're lucky, but that's $3,000 per houseless person for a pad on a floor. Not even cots. In a group where you got all their germs and their diseases and their COVID and their coughing. You got sex offenders and all kinds of whack jobs with mental health problems, all in one space, whether it's a church or a warehouse. That's where all the money's gone. That's the problem with Portland. Probably the problem with San Francisco. Probably the problem with Los Angeles. It's a shelter industrial complex. They don't want to solve it because it's making them too much damn money and it's collecting too much federal grant dollars. My solution is simple. You build low-income units, small $200 units, and we need a couple thousand of them, and we need it based on income. Stop spending the money in all these places that I just bitched and lectured about. The great unknown, we have to feed the hungry too. God bless you. That's the Christian thing to do. That's the proper thing to do. And you have these so-called conservative, or they're conservatives. They call themselves conservatives. I'll give them that. But then they're going to call themselves Christians, and then they're going to rail against feeding people. Then they're going to rail against funding for low-income housing. Then they're going to argue and fight in the Oregon State Legislature against funding to house people, against funding for shelters, which I don't like shelters, against funding to get the services to the people, what Jesus says to do in the New Testament. Feed my sheep. Feed the hungry. House the hungry. Jesus was a carpenter. Jesus was building low-income housing. So you have conservative Christians here in Oregon that are saying, no, that's a waste of money. We're not doing that. We're cutting everything. What people need is just to pull themselves up on their bootstraps and move along and get themselves the work that doesn't exist. That's how you lose hearts and minds, conservatives. That's how you lose voters like me, the independents, from voting for you for governor in Oregon. I'll never do that. When you have that messaging, I'll never vote for you to be in a state position. And you haven't had a state officer position for 50 years in Oregon. So take a look at yourself, Oregon conservatives. Take a look at yourself, Oregon GOP. That's the reason why you guys are not winning over Portland, and you got to win Portland to win Oregon. I was thinking we feed homeless people to the hungry people. Soylent Green? Oh, that's not Christian, brother. That's something else. That's something darker, brother. You don't want to do Soylent Green. We're so fucked, used to making ends meet and just having enough to scrape together a fucking plate of food on the end of our table that we don't realize it's been taken from us. Vincent, you're fucking nailing it, brother. You put your money in the bank and you get 3% interest, you get a credit card, and you have to pay 23% interest. It's a racket. The banks, it's like dealing with organized crime. It's the mob. The mob would be easier to get a loan from and cheaper. You lie, Aqua. Stetson, all right, buddy. I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. KFC is Soylent Green. Oh, man, are you kidding? I wouldn't eat that shit. You know, back 25, 30 years ago, the last time I had KFC, it made me sick. Everything in that food is dehydrated. And then they rehydrate it. It comes in like dehydrated. Same thing with Taco Bell. People don't realize that's not real meat. None of that. The beans, everything. It's all dried food, and then they rehydrate it. And then you wonder why your stomach feels like it's got like some sort of blender, like, you know, it's jamming in your guts. That's because there's a chemical reaction happening that shouldn't be happening. You pay interest for money you lend. That's for the way it go. You pay interest for the money you lend. Chicken Strangler. Did you read the Ezra Klein book, Abundance? The main reason for high-cost housing is government too involved and standards are too high. Sounds like a libertarian, brother. I've read some libertarian stuff. You pay interest for the money. Man up. All right, Stetson. You bet, buddy. You bet. Come on in and start insulting everybody. You go to the back of the line and sit down. Shut your mouth. Say hi. Dominique Roy. Yep, maybe that's why our lifespan is short. All the chemicals. Damn straight. I hope you guys didn't get the mRNA injections. Did you? Did they talk you into that? Do you know what that stuff does? Those lipid nanoparticles are doing to your organs, to your body, to your brain? It's a bioweapon, my friends. It's a bioweapon. The virus first coming was a bioweapon. Then the injections on top of that. More bioweapons. More bioweapons for you. Everybody gets a bioweapon. Ezra gets a bioweapon. Stetson gets a bioweapon. More booster bioweapons for you. Man up, Stetson. Get your booster and get your low interest loan. Man up. Ezra is actually a liberal and an economist. Oh, okay, cool. If I could put you on the screen, I would. I'd like to do that. I keep talking about that every time. I keep talking about putting people on. I like to see people. I like to get them in there. Did you get the cover shot? No, I didn't get any of them. But it doesn't. I hate to be the wet blanket if we're going to get into that, because I've actually studied the science and the preach. You know what? I'm like, I don't want to get too preachy. And then a part of me wants to say, just fuck it. Just fuck it. I mean, just speak, right? If I get intense and start spewing, fuck it, right? Preach. Did you get the cover shot? No. I took them. How am I alive? Well, there's still plenty of time for side effects and reactions, brother. Listen, Stetson, if you're an elder, it didn't affect the elders the way the young people were affected. But we're seeing sterilization. We're seeing ovarian cancer. We're seeing testes cancer. I mean, it's long and long and long. I lost my train of thought there. I was going to say something about, I lost it. It's okay. It must not have been important. I heard the Novavax is the safe one because that's one that's made of wood. Well, you know what? Listen, YouTube will pull this video. They'll shut down. They won't share it. Like, I got 50 people here. I won't get like a couple thousand just because I said those things. And, you know, I mean, sorry, not sorry. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a doctor. I have to say these disclaimers. I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving you any medical professional advice. What I'm saying is just my opinion and only my opinion. I'm an artist. See my painting behind me? This is one of my abstracts. I've been painting. I'm a professional artist for 30 years. I do not impersonate a doctor or a medical professional of any kind. Sometimes I impersonate an attorney, especially when I need to represent myself, which I do, sometimes in family law, sometimes in family, in landlord-tenant disputes. Have you read the book, The Cream of Some Young Guy? But no, it really negates a lot of these teachings. I haven't. I'll check it out. You're not stupid. Come on. It's billions of people that took it. Yeah. There is billions, and the numbers are in, I think 100 million people have died from adverse reactions. But listen, that's not really what I want to talk about, because it gets the video pulled. It gets the video, it'll just shut it down. And then they'll give me strikes. And it used to be a lot worse, but now they're being a little more liberal. But I don't want to talk about that, because it triggers the algorithms. So it's like, even saying those things, even though it's the truth, and I don't regret saying it, because I really want the best for everybody. And there is ways to get the spike proteins out of the body. It's not a done deal. And we see the worst reactions are people that are getting multiple boosters. So just kind of stop on that. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've got all my jabs except for the mRNA and except for all those COVIDs, and I won't take any more jabs that have got that in there. But even my daughter, she's current on all her vaccines except for up to that 2020 line. Laugh all out, Veers, delusional. Come on, bro. Stetson's, come on, bro. Man up. All right, come on, bro. There are unfortunately billions of stupid people. Yes, and unfortunately, there's millions of smart people who are lied to. That's criminal. That's criminal. When we have people like Fauci and the rest of these goons coming up and saying they're the authority, right? Some old fat people died in hospitals that after the shot. Well, actually, the old people didn't die in the hospitals from the shots. They were dying in the hospital from the incubators, and they were dying from the original bioweapon. So that's not totally true. He has a point. Say hi. Hey, Benny. Chicken strangler. I'm not one of the billions of stupid people. No, you guys, listen. You guys are here listening to me rant. You're obviously seeking the truth, and you're not stupid. Nobody that comes, except for, maybe Stetson saying I'm supposed to man up. That guy's kind of questionable. But the rest of you, I'm kidding, Stetson. I love you, brother. The rest of you guys are fucking solid right on, I mean, you get a lot of trolls and a lot of bots. They're not even stupid. Even the AI is smart. Nobody's really stupid. But it's unfortunate when we're misguided. And today, if you don't know the data, you're ignorant of the data. You might be very smart in life. Zach says, deport them all. Deport them all. It's criminal, but we have to take responsibility for ourselves. That's a good point, Shimmer Inspections. Love you too, Stitz. All right, brother. Listen, I'm fucking with you. I do that a lot. Anybody that's been here before know sometimes I get, you guys troll me, I'm going to have to troll your ass. You think you're going to come in here and troll me? I'm going to troll you motherfuckers right back. I still love you. The safest communities are those with the most housing and resources, not those that make it a crime to be poor or sick, said Jesse Rabinowitz of the National Homelessness Law Center. Okay, so here comes the other side. Here comes the other side, right? Here it is. It's criminal, but we have to take, okay, I got that one. As a licensed mental health professional, I know that forced treatment is unethical, ineffective, and illegal. Okay, that's what she's saying. Here she is. It's Jesse, or they, Jesse Rabinowitz, National Homeless Law Center. He says forced treatment is unethical, ineffective, and illegal. People need stable housing and access to health care. True. Rabinowitz said, rather, Trump's actions will force more people into homelessness, divert taxpayer money away from people in need, and make it harder for local communities to solve homelessness. Is that true? Do you believe that? Where does the Johnson & Johnson shot rank in the lineup? Johnson, the J&J, Mark, the J&J was one of the first to be pulled because it caused strokes. That's not my opinion. That's the data. They pulled them. They pulled them because they were early on. It was the Pfizer and Moderna that kept going on. But listen, the video won't see the light of day because we're talking about that. Just so you understand that. I mean, I might even have to delete it, which I could do. I don't really care. By the way, all these comments are private, just so you guys know. I don't know. You probably already knew that. But on my live streams, they're always private. I don't flip it on and make them. I mean, the comments are on the videos down below, but not during these live streams. Forcing housing is the same as forcing mental health. Forced mental health. I'm a goner. Listen, Mark, you're still here. Brother, you're standing. You're not a goner. You're okay. And if you were going to be a goner, it would have happened years ago. Honestly, I believe that. And if you just got one, you're okay. Even with one of the boosters, that's a little dicier, but you get 2 or 3. If you're a young guy and healthy, haven't you seen all the videos? You have to have seen all the videos of the young athletes dropping on the soccer field, dropping at the high school, college basketball game, or both of them, dropping, football, NFL, dropping, healthy athletes, not overweight, not high blood pressure, not any fucking problems. We're talking about healthy motherfuckers dropping. That's not right. I'm 50 years old. I'm 53 actually. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen healthy young people drop in the middle of a game as much as we've seen after these damn jabs. Got the Pfizer. You could be all right. There's a couple different doctors that have a couple different recommended to get rid of the spike proteins. You can do all kinds of things. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving medical advice, but there's nanokinase, there's bromelain. I like bromelain. Do I have bromelain? I guess I'm out of the bromelain. Bromelain, it's from a pineapple extract, but it's really good at breaking down those spike proteins. Akabu, tell your favorite thing about America, please. Like LeBron's son. Okay, LeBron dropped. Was he one of them? I think he was. Did he survive? Or is he gone? Oh, white people made game pilgrims when they turned itself into a white wise only race Edom as a race. Don't come on, buddy. I don't know, Johnson. Children of Esau. Oh, you're going to quote Bible? Okay, well, all right. There was a lot of crazy Puritan shit, which they were hallucinating off of rye bread. Rye bread will actually begin to mold, and it creates a reaction, a hallucinogenic similar to LSD. So you have these Puritans eating rye bread. All of a sudden, they're burning witches and doing weird ceremonies. I'm a white man just like you, white brother. Well, I'm a mixed race. I've got all kinds of mix, but yeah, I mean, people do identify me, but I've got Blackfoot. I've got indigenous bloodlines, like a lot of us do. Have you had your DNA checked out? The amount of people that say, I'm white, it's like, nah, you're not white. You got all kinds of blood in there. I got black as black night blood in my body through the DNA coming up from Africa, up through Brazil, in through with native indigenous cultures. Because native indigenous people don't realize indigenous cultures also had slaves. You heard that right. They also had slaves. After a battle with another tribe, you got a chunk of their people. That's how it worked with the tribes. People are so delusional, they've been programmed. You got athlete's foot. I might. I'm Mexican, Irish, and Spanish, and maybe Jewish. Ooh, that's a tasty combo. Wrestling news. Sir, still better not say the N-word. No, I don't want to say that. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't even say the word Jew. I use Judaist. I think the word Jew it's derogatory, to be honest. Let me finish this article real quick. I think it's done. We came in, we were with Rabinowitz. Rabinowitz is the licensed mental health professional with the National Homelessness Law Center. And they're lecturing us about what we're doing wrong and what Trump's doing wrong with this EO. Aqua, can you invite me to the Americans? Sure. I mean, what the tribes could take. Amen about the tribes could take. Jew here, it's more derogatory to not say it. All right, it's all good. I'm just speaking for myself. So, what is that? It's got a commercial going on here. I think the Jazz. Let me see here. Yeah, the Jazz has got. I had Jazz in the background doing a commercial there. So let me wrap up this. I want to do the executive order directly. I'm not a Jew, but I don't like them. Well, we're going to pray for you, brother. I always joke, everybody here, everybody on the planet is a little bit of Neanderthal with the the Neanderthals, and a little bit Judaist, and not necessarily in that order. I need advice. I'm 20 and my girlfriend will be 15 this month. Ooh. Oh no, don't do that. We've been together 2 years. I'm kidding, brother. We've been together 2 years. Now she's pregnant and I don't know what to do. Please help. You need more than we can possibly. You need a group hug. So Monster will give you a group hug. But number one, you're in deep shit. You're in deep shit. The best thing that you could do is marry her. Talk to the family and say, I want to get married, and marry her. And if they'll consent to that marriage, marry her, make it legitimate, have the child, don't get rid of the baby, have the baby. You'll appreciate it down the line. But you're gonna need some prayer and guidance that we can't give you, brother. Shimmer inspections. I'm kidding, brother. You can tell you have self-respect by how much you how you respect others. I try to be respectful. I can be a dick just like anybody. And if somebody crosses me, I'll shred them. Online, holy fuck. I start typing things like an attorney at high speed rates. It's like, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Damn, I'm good. I can battle online. Mac Johnson, he said he's not a mental health doctor. He's not a doctor at all. He's sitting here deceiving people by telling people that I'm not, and I should do this and do that and this and that, but you. All right, well, find the door, Johnson. Get the fuck out, buddy. Please don't judge. I'm not judging. I'm trying to help you. You're in legal hell. You're technically involved with a girl that's too young to consent, which means you've committed a crime. And now that she's got a baby, it's going to complicate the situation. So you need to do the right thing and talk to her parents. If you know her parents, talk to them, get permission, and marry her. Do the right thing and step up and be a father for your child. Hire an attorney. 50-yo thing. You might need an attorney, brother. Give it back to God. That's a good word. I'll disagree about marrying her. I did that at age young and it led my life. Well, it's a good point. Shimmer inspections, it's a good point. I'll disagree about marrying her. It's a tough call. I want you to do the right thing. And you're in a legal situation that you have protections in marriage, I believe, if the parents will consent to the marriage. I think. It is better to get married, at least when you're 20 and she's 15, brother. But better talk to an attorney. There could be some legal advice depending on which state you're in. But are they still playing commercials? Back to some smooth jazz. You guys like jazz? I love smooth jazz. Except for the commercials. I hate commercials. Love is not... Oh, these are ticking away. You guys jamming away now. Love is not a contract. It's doing what's best and right. I agree. Monster, I'm kidding. You're an amazing sport. Been doing this to all the live streams. All right, brother. Thank God. Whew. Jesus, your whole life changed in a couple of posts. That's why you have to ask the Lord what to do and what His will, because it doesn't matter if you think it's going to destroy your life. What do you think it's doing to her? RX1. That's good advice. Sorry about everything. You're amazing. It's all good, brother. I get a lot of trolls. It's okay. But you know what? You brought in a situation that does need to be addressed. That's a social dilemma. And a lot of brothers get into that. I've known people that have been close to that. Not 15, but more like 18, 19, and they're 20-something, and they're like, what do I do? And it's like, you got to do the right thing. You got to man up, like Stetson was talking about, ordering us all to man up. You got to man up. That's it. You got to do the right thing. Be a father for your child. That's what I did with my daughter. That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, is having a child, having a daughter. Sorry about everything. You're all good. Love is absolutely a contract. One would agree. What branch? I didn't do any service. I'm a peace guy. And I used to be an environmentalist. Now I'm an environmentalist, but I don't call myself that. I call myself a conservationist. And that's because conservatives and Republicans, they can identify with clean air and clean water and fish and game for hunting. But when you use a trigger word like environmentalist, you start thinking like you're some rep AOC and cow farts and climate change and global warming and all this shit. They fucked the term environmentalist, in my opinion. It's fucked. We have to abandon that term because of these dipshits. You know. I'm unlabeled. Mid goes west. Don't use labels at all. It's for boomers. I'm Gen X, but you're right. By far, the most favorite person I've seen on. That's cool. I had a scream, and we had like 10,000 people drop in. I think a lot of them were trollers, but on atmospheric rivers. What I say? Political monsoons, political tsunamis, atmospheric rivers. So it was right around the time of all that flooding in Texas. That was the last live. I don't do a lot of lives, but we had thousands of people. I couldn't even read all the comments. I've never had that many people dropping in. I think it was that header. It's that header in the live stream. When you do that, there's a manipulation. I didn't mean to. It was just I wanted to talk about atmospheric monsoons because that's geoengineering, and they steer that water in. That's, down the rabbit hole we go, right? I'm already in the rabbit hole, brothers. So, but let me see here. Trump has expressed his distaste of homeless camps, singling out the removal of encampments on parks and federal land in Washington as a priority. When he mentioned this, one of the press said, "Oh, you've got homeless people sleeping out in front of the White House." He goes, "Where? Oh, we'll take care of them. Where are they at?" It was like a gotcha question, like, "Well, you've got homeless people out in front of the building here, sir." Trump in 2023 camp video said, "We will use every tool, labor, and authority to get the homeless off the streets. We want to take care of them, but they got to get off the streets." That was a 2023 campaign video. I don't remember that one, but it is a crisis. Other items in Trump's order include language that seeks to ensure that grants intended for substance use disorder prevention and recovery don't fund drug injection sites or illicit drug use. The order also prohibits convicted sex offenders who receive homelessness assistance from being housed with children and supports new homeless programs to exclusively house women and children. That's awesome. That's good. I'm like right-wing centrist. I listen to liberals. That's smart. How's your snow forecasting? Nah, you're probably joking. I'm pretty good with the weather. It's part intuition. Weather is part intuition, and you got to part look at the data. I can actually predict pretty good. You're probably joking, though. Based, looking for a good snow forecaster. Oh, there's Ryan Hall, y'all. Well, he's a tornado whisperer. Ryan Hall, y'all, on YouTube. But there's so many talented weather guys. There's so many. You're not joking? Okay, well, there's a lot of them. I follow a bunch of weather guys because I like to know what's going on. And there was a couple of guys that we could follow the airplanes that were like juicing up before the storm came. So he would actually track, and he would combine the airplanes that were juicing up, the cloud seeders, and then he would show that. And then sure enough, we'd see these floods and these tornadoes and these lightning storms created fire right after he could track the airplanes. And I was like, that mofo was money. So that's the article. We've been going for an hour. Looks like I lost most of the audience. That's all right. You guys are still here. I'm a white man, and I'm telling another white man to come open his heart to be repent, but he can't because he's wet till stinning to you. He's deceiving this community. Oh, okay, brother. So the White House, this ending crime and disorder on America's streets. This is the executive order. I'll drop it in after the video and see here. He's basically section 1, endemic vagrancy, disorderly behavior, sudden confrontations, and violent attacks have made our cities unsafe. Boy, that describes Portland for years. the number of individuals living on the streets in the United States on a single night during the last year of the previous administration, 274,000. I think that's low. That's Biden's numbers, Biden's tally. I think that's a low number. We know that Los Angeles has 100,000 homeless alone. There's 100,000 people on the streets in LA. Now, they're the biggest state, and they've got the biggest population of houseless. But that's 100,000 right there. So that number 275. But this is the whitehouse.gov. This is their press release yesterday or today. The overwhelming majority of these individuals are addicted to drugs, have a mental health condition, or both. Nearly 2/3 of homeless individuals report having regular used hard drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine, or opiates in their lifetimes. Well, see, that doesn't prove anything, because everybody could have experimented or tried different type of drugs. I mean, lifetime. So that's poor framing. An equally large share of homeless individuals report suffering from mental health conditions. That is true. I always say, if you're not mentally ill when you're going homeless onto the streets, you're mentally ill once you get there, coming out of the streets. It's a dog eat dog environment. You have to understand, I worked shelters for years. I've seen a lot of people die. I've seen a lot of people die on the streets of Portland. It's a dog eat dog world out there. It's no joke. And just leaving them out there in tents, that's not humanitarian. That's fucked up. Nearly 2/3 of homeless individuals have reported having regular use hard drugs. I already said that. It addressed root causes. All right, so shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. That's exactly the issue we're having here in Portland, is they're trying to loosen up. Governor Tina Kotek is trying to loosen up the guidelines where people that are obviously not doing well and really fucked up can get them into the state hospital. Surrendering our cities and citizens to order and fear is neither compassionate to the homeless nor other citizens. My administration will take a new approach focusing on protecting public safety. Sounds good. Section 2, restoring civil commitment. The Attorney General, in consultation with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, shall take appropriate action. Seek inappropriate cases, the reversal of federal or state judicial precedents, and the termination of consent decrees that impede the United States policy of encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness who pose risk to themselves or the public, or living on the streets and cannot care for themselves in appropriate facilities for appropriate periods of time. So now that could be interpreted to where we're just going to whisk up people that are not doing well, living on the streets, and then tucking them away into an institution without them being able to have a say. I don't read it that way. It could be interpreted that way. It almost kind of sounds like it's that way. It might be fucked up, but they refuse to be helped. Exactly, Curtis. If the homeless refuse to be helped, there is literally nothing we can do about it. Well, that's a good point. That was kind of sounds like the person that we were reading. Legitimately making mental hospitals specifically for the drug addict homeless people would work at reducing homelessness. I think it might. And so really what's important is that screening. We have to screen. It's all about screening. Everyone that comes in, you've got to screen them. Get their name. Where are they from? Are they locals? Are they veterans? What services can we get for them? Where can we direct them? All of that is missing from the current situation. It's just now being pieced together, and there's not one state format and database, and that's what Tina is starting to do. It's going to take years to develop it. But if we can get Multnomah County working with the city of Portland, working with the state of Oregon, we've got a better chance at addressing this stuff. We need treatment facilities. This is what I've been saying to everyone that's coming out and applauding this, because I read a lot of people that were freaking out about this executive order on X. And then I read a ton of people, America Firsters, and that were applauding it, saying, yes, this is what we want. This is what we've been asking for. So let me skip down here where it says it addresses Section 4, redirecting federal resources Number one, redirecting federal resources towards effective methods of addressing homelessness. I guess there was an A, then I, ensure that discretionary grants issued by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration for substance use disorder prevention, treatment, and recovery fund evidence-based programs, and do not fund programs that fail to achieve adequate outcomes, including so-called harm reduction in parentheses or safe consumption in parentheses, efforts that only facilitate illegal drug use and attendant harm. That's true. That's exactly what the problem is. That's what happened. One of the things that happened, and I'm sure we're familiar with it, but let me just speak of the obvious then. For the last several years, 2016, the Democrat-controlled states up to 2020 was, I would call it a Marxist coup, but there was a whole bunch of social experiments that happened. One of them is they wanted to fire all the police and get rid of all the police. And then they wanted to close all the jails, release all the criminals out into the streets. And then they wanted to reduce the district attorneys and not have district attorneys charge anybody. There was all of these things that were happening at the same time that screwed Portland. It screwed Democratic-controlled states and cities because it all failed. It failed horribly. And the other thing that happened, a lot of people don't know this, but when the COVID hit in 2020 and 2021, here, I'll just speak for Oregon. So that's where I've been 50 years. I was here for COVID. They released all of the psychiatric patients from the state hospital onto the streets. They released all of the violent prisoners down in California, all the violent prisoners up here in Oregon, because it was inhumane because of this huge COVID, which was really a souped up flu COVID virus. It was a bioweapon. And then they released all of these people out into the streets to just be out on their own, because somehow that was more humane and was better than keeping them in confinement. This is what happened. We've never recovered from that, ever. It's what destroyed small business in downtown Portland and Seattle and Frisco and LA, because the crime went through the roof. The police were laid off, budgets were laid off, police were driven out, because we lost hundreds of early retirements in Portland Police Bureau because they were treated like pieces of garbage. They were treated as white supremacists, and they were called all these things. Thousands of people were marching saying "kill cops." You saw graffiti on building that tagged "kill cops," "kill police," "kill whitey," all this crazy shit. This was a social engineered Marxist coup that swept across America that we've never recovered from here in Portland or the West Coast. That's a fact. We had all these things to do this. We gave up in the 90s. I think it was. Guten Abend, amassen Frud, ich stimmen wohl und ganz mit Ihren Ideen überein. All right, Restori Orbi. I think was that German? Is that Swedish or Dutch? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So that's the reality of the situation. And we've never recovered from that. And these harm reductions where they literally, millions of dollars went from Multnomah County handing drug addicts a pipe to smoke fentanyl in. And then Biden opened the borders and all of the narcotics came in. We had 200,000 people die from overdose. Many of them were poisoned because they had fentanyl pressed into their Vicodin pills or pressed into their Xanax or whatever pharmies they were buying on the street. They didn't know that fentanyl was pressed because those were black market cartel pressed pills. And we lost hundreds of thousands of people. Teens were killed. Yep, German. Obama's on the list. Laugh out loud. I listened for 20 seconds. You're full of crap. All right, good seeing you. Have a good one, Ishu. Hit the road, bud. So we've had a whole series of things that need social experiments that have failed. That's it. They failed. And now we've got to correct it. Can executive orders do it alone? No. it's a step in the right direction. And if there's a little dangle, that Trump's really good with the dangle, right? With the tariffs, here's a little dangle. You want to save, you want to spend billions of dollars and piss us off? Well, we're going to jack up your tariff rates. Or you want to be friendly? Okay, we'll come down to 10% and you're going to do some investment in America. It's the dangle. It's called the dangle. It looks like what this executive order is he's doing a dangle to Democrat-controlled states, Democrat-controlled cities. And he's saying, hey, you want to have drug addicts out there smoking fentanyl, doing fentanyl yoga, where the body does bends that it should never have done, ever. Even a trained yogist says you don't do bends like that. I'm not kidding. If you've ever seen somebody that's smoking too much fentanyl, it's unnatural. It is weird. I've never seen anything like that. I've been around drugs my whole life. Drug and alcohol counselors, social crisis counselor, blah, 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 blah. All the residential advocate, all these titles they'll tack on you for just working for nothing, working for the people and working the streets. That's what I did. I've been around drugs my whole life. I've never seen anything like these fentanyl addicts, these fentanyl users. And they don't stay addicts very long because they're dead in months. I've seen heroin addicts live for 10 years, every day shooting up. Fentanyl addicts, you've only got a couple months. Some people die on their first use, one time. Fenty fold, all right, Bob John. I call it Fenty yoga. We got a lot of yoga here in Portland. A lot of yoga pants. All the honeys wearing the yoga pants. A lot of yoga places. But Fenty yoga, that's it's like. I've never seen anything like it. In all the drugs that I've seen in my life, have you ever seen anything like it, Bob John? It's the most wildest fucking thing. And I think they're mixing it with like animal tranquilizers or something, right? I mean, there's like a mixture of weird shit that they're mixing in there. It's not just all fentanyl, right? I mean, am I right? I've never smoked the shit, so I don't know. He's been everywhere and nowhere too. I'll tell you, man. It's those fentanyl. It's an exhausting morning. You can tell those guys are exhausted smoking that shit all morning long. But so I guess I'm kind of wrapping up here on the White House executive order. There was one thing. Okay, here it is. Let me read Section 5. Increasing accountability and safety in America's homeless programs. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, I think that's Bobby, right? Isn't that his title? Bobby Kennedy Jr.? Or I think, maybe it's somebody else. And then the Housing and Urban Development shall take appropriate actions to increase accountability in their provision of and grants, that's the dangle, grants awarded for homelessness assistance in transition living programs. That's awesome. That's what I've been hollering about for 20 years. That's exactly what I've been saying for 10 years. I say it every fucking other day in an ex-post to the Democrats seated in Portland and Oregon. You guys keep building affordable housing, and for people that don't have anything and they're kicking fentanyl or whatever combination of drugs and alcohol they're using, they don't have housing options. They need low income, and they're going to need a voucher. You can get people detoxed, which is great. That's one step in the battle. It's a long, long battle, right? And if you just drop them out of detox into the streets, they're going to get devoured. They're going to get tempted. They're going to relapse within minutes or hours or days. It takes a much stronger will. They have to be able to lock a door where they have to consciously unlock the door and go out of the door to go seek out the narcotic to relapse. When you're houseless, it's all the tents around you, everybody you talk to. You go to the library to use the internet. Everybody in the library is doing Fenty yoga stretches and dying. Every time I've been to the library downtown, there's some dead guy in the bathroom. My daughter and I walk up, and there's the ambulance, there's the fire department, another dead guy in the bathroom being wheeled out. And shooting Narcan into his nose, trying to get the blue guy back. And sometimes they do. They get him to come back, but he was dead. They're not law. Evgeny Sharapov, they're not law. What are you talking about, Bob John? I know what he's talking about. There's no such thing as affordable housing. As a builder and a landlord, affordable housing is just a guarantee from the government. Well, I think we went through that. I broke down why I use the word low income, and I don't have issues with building those things. I don't have issues with housing vouchers from the government because people need it. People need assistance. That's why the federal government's there. Now, libertarians argue that there shouldn't be any of that. In fact, I read here an Oregon conservative saying none of that should be there. We shouldn't help anybody long term. Shouldn't be any housing vouchers. Those kind of thinking and those voters and those representatives, mostly Republicans in Oregon, are exactly why Oregon is fucked right now, with the Democrats' help. But they have been fighting long before COVID and long before all of this housing first and this harm reduction. Those are the people, those are mostly Democrats, not the Republicans. The Republicans fought the housing development. They fought the Section 8 funding. They fought the low income affordable housing because it's government shouldn't be building homes is what they said. I'm going back 10, 20 years. Can you tell me what it was talking about then, please? I wasn't there till just now. Affordable housing is a fucking joke. People take advantage of it more than they actually need it. Well, look at America. You sound like you live out in the country and you don't like people and you stay away from people, and that's probably best for you, Eric. That's probably best for you, just to stay away from people. When you're living in the city, it's a different situation. We have homeless camps. There's 10,000 people in tents all over Portland because there's not affordable housing. Those people are right next to our homes. They're right next to our apartments. They're right next to the train station. They're right next to the library. They're here in their tent housing. That's fucked up. We don't want them blocking the tents. We don't want them blocking the sidewalks. We don't want their tents blocking the sidewalks, I meant. We want them someplace safe. So this order from Trump, which is a Republican order, no Democrats have done this from the White House until Trump. Trump is done it. He's saying they need to be in treatment. Get them in treatment. You got to build treatment first. That's going to take some money. Then you're going to need low-income housing. Treatment is housing first. Inpatient treatment is 30, 60, 96 months of subsidized housing because they don't have money. Medicaid could pay for it. Medicaid will pay for some things, but there's going to need to be adjustment on the funding. I was talking about people abusing fentanyl. Yeah. I heard you, Bob John. Bubble Crubble the Savior. Yeah. Sorry, you came in, Subble Bubble Savior. You came in and we were talking about. I know you guys. You said you were laughing, so I knew you understood me. Hey, is that Korean? Korean in the house or Japan? It's not Japanese. I think that's Korean. Looks like old Korean. Very level head. All right, so let me finish this and I'll wrap it up. These actions shall include, to the extent permitted by law, ending support for housing first. So housing first is a term that all Republicans, all GOP, they have this gag reflex to the term. Everyone interprets what that actually even means. They don't even, they all say it means something different. It's housing first, right? Oh, God, that's Obama. And, oh, he's Satan and he is a communist and he fucked us. Well, all of that's true except for housing first is... It has to happen in more ways than one. Jail is housing first. Psychiatric facilities is housing first. This is my interpretation. So you've got prisons, you've got state hospitals, you've got affordable housing if you can get in it, and if you qualify and if you can find one. They're hard to come by, but Portland is building them. I don't think it's helping people that need it the most. And that's why we've got them in tents. Conservatives and haters, they say everyone's on drugs and that's why they're in tents. I beg to differ. I see that people they can't afford the rents in an affordable housing unit here in Portland. They need what's called lower income or zero income. And where we can get them in an application on Social Security, that's going to take 2 years. Social Security takes 2 years to qualify. So before we can get them a Social Security check so they can pay their rent with that, which all of it would go to rent, which is going to be tough for some people, but other people, they'd be willing to do that, or get their name on a list for a Section 8 voucher, which is what we need. And people here in Portland, the Democrats want to funnel all that money, hundreds of millions of dollars. We could have, at a third of the cost, housed all the houseless people that are our people. People from Portland, people from Oregon, people from the West Coast. I want us just to house Oregonians. What does that mean? How long do you have to be here? That's open for interpretation. You got to be born here. Not necessarily. You don't have to be native Oregonian. You got to be here for what, 10 years? 5 years? You can't just come cruising through and be kicked out of Wyoming. That's the other thing. What this is going to do is this is going to force Colorado cities, they're already doing it, California cities even, where they bus people out. They load them up on a bus, and it's called return home. They get them a ticket, and they come up to Oregon and drop them off. And we get all of their houseless. So that's what this kind of executive order is in jeopardy. It could possibly do, which would be the exact opposite of reducing houseless for our community in Portland and Oregon. It's reducing the houseless because they put them on a bus and get rid of them from Colorado or from Wyoming or from wherever, Montana, wherever it is, Arizona. They just put them on a bus and ship them on up. That's a bona fide program. I think that's effed up. I don't want to house those people. I want to return them back to their state and have their state pay for their housing and have them build low-income housing in Colorado. Psychiatric hospitals are not cheap. They're not cheap. You're talking about $3,000 to $5,000 a month per patient, per room, just like jails. Psychiatric hospitals are not cheap. You got in jail, you got the wardens, you got the meals, you've got caretakers and psychiatrists, and you got meals in the state hospital. $3,000 to $5,000 estimated, depending on the state, per inmate, per bed, per patient. That's not cheap. Now, housing vouchers could be $1,200, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for affordable housing. Little units. These aren't 1-2 bedrooms with a balcony. Little 200 square foot units. They're not big. If I showed you guys some of the units in the building here, you would say that that's a really small unit. They look like motel rooms. They're like 200 square feet. It's a studio. Then they got 1 bedrooms, and there's a couple like 15 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom for some families. I live in Colorado, but hold my residence in Wyoming. Okay, Colorado's beautiful. Wyoming's beautiful too. It's interesting. You got a connection to Wyoming. I do know some people down there though. I've got a whole bunch of family in Idaho, especially northern Idaho. But I know people in Montana, Wyoming. I know all through there. But I used to backpack all along Idaho and down in there by Yellowstone. And I miss when Section 8 kept them in one area. Now they're scattered in nice areas and destroying property value. Okay, well, that's a good argument. Hitik Mand. That's a cool name. That's the argument. That's what people say. They say, I don't want any poor folks in my community because you're going to bring down my property values. And there's fear that crime's going to happen. And some of that's true. Sometimes that does happen. I mean, look what happened in Colorado. I mean, Colorado, there was cartels that took over entire apartment communities. Am I wrong? Your brothers and sisters from Colorado, am I wrong? I mean, I saw the videos. You know, they were first trying to deny it, and then they made arrests, and then they confirmed it. Cartels were running apartment complexes all through Colorado. I think it was Denver. Send them all to Missouri. Send them to Missouri. They're shitty units as well. They'll fix it later. Yeah, well, listen, beggars can't be choosers. And I'll tell you, you talk to the houseless populations like I have for years, most of them will tell you all they really want is a small unit for a door to lock so they can feel safe. That's all they want. They've been out for sometimes years in a tent where they're hearing people coming in to steal and rape them, people coming in, gun battles, violence. You're hearing prostitutes having sex with strangers. And I mean, it's horrible. And they don't feel safe. And that's why they're killing themselves. They don't feel safe. It's horrible. Dirty Irish bums. The Irish. P. Diddy's being a punk. Come on, buddy. I thought you were in jail. They release you, P. Diddy? You're out on the streets, brother. Where were we? That's my perspectives on it, is that I think I've presented both sides here pretty good. There's people that hate housing vouchers. They don't want lower income or affordable housing. There's a lot of studies that say where shelters are, There's a good neighbor agreement. I've had to negotiate the good neighbor agreements with all the neighbors around a shelter. And so everyone minds their behavior around the shelter because they don't want to be prevented. They don't want a restriction. They don't want to be kicked out. So, and then you say that, you use that. I would tell them, if you're going to fuck around and do these drugs and have fights out here, you guys are going to lose your services and lose your ability, not only with this shelter, but we're going to blackball your ass through all of them. So snap out of it and head on out. And they'll walk out. They'll go out 4 or 5 blocks, and then they're going to do whatever the hell they were going to do. Have a knife fight, use the drugs, whatever it is. So it's like the data is skewed. They say that, I just read this, like there's a current data, and it is true. It's true. Because of the good neighbor agreements, directly around the shelters, everyone freaks out and they think the shelters are going to bring crime. There's no crime increase around it. But you go a couple more blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks, you will find the crime. I'm sorry. The data speaks for itself. Bob John, housing too expensive in America. Fuck yeah, brother. It's ridiculous. Rents on the West Coast. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, some of you know what I'm talking about. We went $30 minimum wage like there should be. Cost of living up, and wages never followed suit. Well, right now there's 18,000 layoffs in California because they raised the fast food minimum wage to $25 an hour. 18,000 jobs lost in California because they jacked up the minimum wage, mandated the minimum wage. I think it was just for fast food. You have to double check me on those numbers. Release the Epstein files now. Absolutely, Eric. Release all the files. That's the last thing Trump said today. The insider on InfoWars, AJ, Alex Jones on InfoWars, the insider and Roger Stone was talking about it. Trump was quoted overhearing saying, fuck it, release all the files. Release them all. Fuck it, release all the files. So he's reached a wall after they've tried to conceal it. He was embarrassed that he knew Epstein and all this. And that is kind of embarrassing that you have any kind of connection to that. But everyone's seen all the pictures. There's beautiful Melania. There's Jeffrey hugging on to Maxwell. They're all in a group shot. I mean, how many shots have you seen where Donald's got his arms on the shoulder of Jeffrey Epstein? A lot. That doesn't mean he's a pedo. It doesn't mean he's a child rapist. It doesn't mean he's even a bad guy. You have to understand that Trump threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, cut ties with him before he was arrested. Trump worked with prosecutors to have him charged. If you don't know that, you know that now. That's true. He's going to pardon Maxwell. I've heard that, Aaron Rodriguez, that there was some discussion. She's had a second meeting, I think is what I heard. So the second meeting, she's kind of saying, hey, what are we doing here? I need out of prison. And they're like, okay, well, what kind of names you got? The rumor was she gave him 100 names. I don't know if she gave him a dozen names, but a dozen names would be good. 100 names would be pretty fucking outstanding. Do we need just names? Don't we need indictments? Don't we demand action? Do we just need to read the file? Do we just need to read and have names? I don't. I want indictments. Maxwell named 100 people. Bob John confirms it. Evgeny Sharopov. Bull. Stevie Canuck. Trump admitted to enjoy very young girls. I don't think that could be true. I don't think they were minors. I don't think, and Trump's never been to the island. He has flown on the plane. He's on the flight log, but Jeffrey used the airplane as a bribe to juice up the wealthy people to do international global flights. So Trump's never actually been on the island. He keeps repeating that. I believe him. He hasn't been to the island. That doesn't really necessarily matter because we had New York residents and we had Florida residents. He lived in Palm Beach where Trump's been for decades. So, he didn't necessarily have to be the island, but he wasn't on the island, which means there's not videos on the island with children. Now, there could be videos in New York. I don't know. Victims are coming forward, Trump essay her. He picked Pam Bondi for a reason. She never held Epstein to his criminal actions in the first time. Well, he was convicted. You feel like Pam Bondi. The criticism on Pam Bondi is pretty intense. I think it's valid. With Pam Bondi, she's in, who's even more suspect to me, is a chief staff, Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles is in the same lobbying firm as Pam Bondi. Did you know that? So you have two operatives, one of their clients, I think it's Ballard Holdings, one of their clients, Pfizer. So Pfizer sends in Susie Wiles, chief of staff, sends in Pam Bondi, attorney general. We're fucked. Susie Wiles has got to go. I like Pam Bondi, but there is criticism there that is valid. I still like her, though. Bro putting himself on the watch list. Shh. Shimmer Inspection says, shh. Cole says we're putting him on a watch list. Stevie Canuck says, if he's not a pedo, he's in the real creepy zone. Well, right? And have we been lied to? It kind of looks like it. It kind of looks like Trump did some lying because he was nervous about the connections. That's not played well. I would have come out point blank and said, yeah, I knew him. Look at all the pictures. Look at all the video. Look at all this shit. It doesn't mean I went to the island. It doesn't mean I'm a bad guy, and I don't like children. I like big, beautiful porn stars with huge tits. And that's what Trump likes. He likes big, over-sexualized, adult film type of sexy type of seductress. That's what he's always liked. And those people don't like children. We don't. We don't like kids. I don't. I like big, busty, beautiful, blonde, bombs. No, I'm just kidding. I like all women. They're beautiful. But, when you like women and you appreciate the beauty of a woman, you don't like children. You don't like little Boy Scout bodies on a... It's gross. It's just sick. Anybody that's got any integrity. I don't think Trump is a pedo. I think they're trying to frame him as such. But it's just not there. Abstruse, Trump lying? No way. All he does. Bruce Christensen, he's doing the Trump 2028. That's the greatest troll. It's got people just... Gavin wants to run for he's going to run for president. Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2028. Mark my words. He keeps ripping on him and saying, we got to stop him. He says he's going to run a third term. He's posting on X. He believes it. He thinks there's going to be a congressional amendment that's going to all. You guys know that, don't you? It's all trolling. Trump is the troll master, and the people around him learn the troll master skills and ways. It's what you do when you're observing and being taught by the troll master Trump. If Trump was on the list, it would have come out, and when Dems were in office, Peyton, pow! I've heard that on mainstream media several times. Spot on. They would have used that to stop him in this last election. They would have used that to stop him in the first term. Are you kidding? He's obviously not on there. It's not trolling, dude. Everything he jokes about is slowly happening. Well, Ruck Republicans. Well, it could be. I'm not saying that there isn't. Listen, the controversy that's happening about this Epstein thing now today is because Trump fucked up how he handled it. The Trump administration fucked up how they handled it. They had Pam Bondi come out and say she's got binders full of names. That whole staging of all the binders of phase 1 at the White House. The fuck are you doing, Blondie? Come on, baby cakes. You're too beautiful and smart to pull that kind of stupid bullshit. Come on. You don't tell people you got all this shit sitting on your desk and then you make the desk disappear. The desk is gone. All that shit that was stacking up on Blondie, AG Blondie's desk. Blondie, that's Laura Loomer's nickname for her, Blondie. I actually like Pam Bondi. But all that shit stacked up on her desk, poof, gone. Was that Ballard Holdings, was that the lobby firm, or is that Mossad? Looks like there's a lot of Mossad in the White House. Am I wrong? I'm not a hater. I'm just wondering. Looks like there's a whole bunch of Mossad. Am I wrong? Trump was on the Rostian's Black Book twice. Abstruse. He's a character, a celebrity, a gimmick, not a leader. That's a good point. But so was Ronald Reagan, and all the Republicans call him the greatest, one for the Gipper. What was that movie? Bedtime for Bonzo? Have you ever seen that? It's like, what the that's not even like a film. It's like you got a little monkey, and you got these little skits of this little monkey named Bonzo, Bedtime for Bonzo. I don't know, man. It was a different era when TV and film was entertaining people. I don't know how Reagan even was considered an actor. To be honest, I'd have to see more of his work. Michael DeLon keeps doing Israeli flags. I can tell he loves Israel so much. All right, brother. Timothy Edwards, he obviously is on the list as he was Epstein's best friend and was defended alongside Epstein in a rape case of a minor who dropped it after receiving threats. I don't know about that, Edwards. I don't know about all that. But all right, brother. Dude will never answer my question. What you got a question? What did I miss? Free Palestine. All right, David De Silva. We got Palestinian flags in the house. Now we got dueling Israeli flags and Palestinian flags. All right, listen. I say free Gaza and I say free Tel Aviv because they're both held hostage by people that are not Judaist. Bibi Netanyahu is a corrupt criminal. He's not a Judaist. Okay? You with me? I want freedom for everybody. Fake news, right? I love Israel. All right, that's all good. I'm not a hater. I love the Israeli people. I don't like the Israeli government. I love America. I love Americans. I don't like the American government. Follow me? Ban the Palestinian flag. Come on. Now you got it. Now you're going to sound like a hater. See how quick that turned? What's your favorite food? Curries. I make coconut curries. For the last 2 or 3 days, I put in potato, chicken. I like seafood. I like shrimp in with the curries. I'm a hella chef, man. I got chef skills. You don't get to be a big guy like this. You don't get to be 280 pounds without hella chef skills, unless you're wealthy. And I eat well, and I'm not wealthy. Mine is garlic chicken and spaghetti. Oh, man, I fucking love. You like spaghetti noodles with the garlic and the olive oil without red sauce? Garlic chicken with just the garlic and the olive oil? Fucking love that. I think if it walks like a duck and it's a duck, though. Trump was hanging out with Epstein. Epstein said he was his best friend, etc. I think it's common sense he was someone involved, right? Just from a connection. David De Silva. Well, it's undeniable that he knew him. It's undeniable that he was partying with him. A couple of videos, everyone looks coked up. I mean, I can tell you right now, everyone was snorting, tooting lines in the 80s. Every bar I went into in the 80s and 90s, you got people coked up in the bathrooms. There was tons of cocaine in this country. And it was really a wealthy white guy drug, right? Because the crack rocks is what they sent into the poor, lower people of communities of color. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. So they look coked up to me. He really does in these old videos. And he's darting around. He's looking at all these beautiful women. They don't look like minors. Maybe they're under 18. They look at least 21. I don't know. And if they're consensual escorts, there's a lot of high-end consensual escorts. Prostitution, escorts is a fancier, prettier word. That it's consensual sexual relations. And that's the way parties were in the 80s and 90s. I'm not saying that was ethical or moral. It's not. But it's not children. And it's not blackmail videos. And that's different than what Epstein was wrapped up in with Maxwell feeding his addiction. That's why she's in prison. That's why she's in prison now. Is they had the witnesses, they had it. She was picking up the minors and feeding Jeffrey's addiction for young teens with braces, apparently. He had some sort of weird fucking thing for teens with braces, which is just fucked up for a grown man. I mean, the guy, if he is dead, he got exactly what he fucking deserved. Strangled, choked out, and fucking dead. I know that sounds harsh. That sounds real unchristian-like, but Jeffrey Epstein deserved that. I don't think he's dead. I think they did a body double. I think the CIA came in jail uniforms in that prison, some sort of switcheroo. I think if they did kill somebody, it was a body double. It's a rounded nose, and the ear doesn't match Epstein's ear. He's purple, which that's easy to do with makeup. I'm talking about the Gurney video. They pull a guy out of the ambulance, which is supposed to come from this jail, this prison, and then they wheel him into the hospital in front of all the cameras right on cue. They see a purple guy, and then they take a couple pictures of this purple guy with wrong ears and a rounded nose instead of sharp nose that Epstein has. I'm just not buying it. And then there was the drone footage after he allegedly died. Somebody down there over his estate, there's drone footage, and you see Epstein look up. It's got his hair. It looks like him. The drone's right there. Epstein's looking at the drone. He knows he's gotcha. And then I don't know what happens. Where does the drone go? I don't know. Nobody really panics, so I don't know. Maybe it was just somebody on his island that looks like him. Gray hair. I got gray hair, but I don't look like him. Somebody looked just like him. That to me is suspicious. Coconut curry sounds amazing. Listen, coconut, it's medicinal. Not only is it the greatest fucking tasting food, and then you got the turmeric in with the curries, and that's all medicinal. The Indian cuisine, it's not just Indian, but the Thai, and it's medicinal food. They're eating for their health, not just for the palate, but the palate comes with the good health. So wonderful. I got arthritis in my blood. I mean, I got all this aging old man shit that's attacking me now. It's brutal. So I eat a lot of that. I'm thinking coconut, reduce inflammation. Turmeric, reduce inflammation. So it's like it's a double header for me. Common sense perspective. Trump even said Epstein loves beautiful women, like many of them young. True. There's no denying any of that. I'm half Italian American. Oh man, Italians rock. Shrieky Brecci, I bet you're champion. He was an informant by the FBI. I think, are we talking about Epstein or Trump? Epstein, clearly, I think he was with the CIA. And obviously he was with Mossad because Robert Maxwell, the godfather of Mossad, who drowned himself on his yacht, right? Another one of these mysterious drownings. That was his daughter. Jizzy Maxwell, that's her daughter. She inherited all of Pop's accounts, all of Pop's business. That's what I think. You drug tea. No, that's some copium. Are you a communist? No, fuck, I hate communism. No, I'm a free market. I'm a 30, this is one of my paintings. 30-year artist, professional artist, entrepreneur. Artists don't last long in communist or socialist societies. There are lots of videos of Trump saying very sexually charged statements about many different kids, including his daughter. Okay. I don't believe that he was doing anything inappropriate with Ivanka. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that. But I hear you. Biden being on the list, slong Trump, completely kill hoax claims backed by Dems not releasing the files. I think you're on it. Well, oh, come on. He was his neighbor in a plane from him, too. Well, that's true. I'm not being naive. If I was a gambling man, Trump knew and was involved in the child honey traps. I don't believe that. He helped actually convict Epstein, threw him out of Mar-a-Lago because he was touching I think it was the masseuse or the French maid inappropriately. He was tossed. And he needed to be tossed out of there. And he was. Trump did the right thing. If he literally gave him a plane, dumbass, well, who gave him a plane? He was riding on the plane. And that's how Jeffrey, what do you do that when you're currying people. You're trying to manipulate them. You're trying to seduce them. You're trying to pander to them. What's the word? I'm drawing a blank on that. So when you offer all these things and you cater to them and you try to get in with them, that's what he did. There's all these people on the flight list. That doesn't mean they went to the island. That doesn't even mean that they had sex with a consensual prostitute, an escort. It certainly doesn't imply that they liked children. So it's all getting convoluted. Democrats are doing that on purpose, in part to deflect from their ass, and also because they're like sharks, piranhas, they smell blood in the water. This whole Epstein file cover-up and botched rollout of Trump himself and his administration at his control, he fucked it up. He created, it's the Barbara Streisand effect. He created conspiracy where there didn't need to be for himself. The conspiracy was there before, with the QAnon boards and trust the plan and all these pedos. We're going to kill the pedos. We're doing all this and that. We're going to arrest them and all this shit. He fed into that, stoking up the base. And that was all about the Democrats. And I think primarily neoliberal Democrats are on that list. There is Republicans. I heard Bill Richardson. I've heard a whole bunch of names. What was the last one? John Kerry. I heard John Kerry was on there. Again, these lists don't necessarily imply criminal activity. It's really important to separate that. Bourdain fire in Washington. I'm getting a bunch of fire alerts. Timothy Edwards, look it up. It's public record. He's well known. He was a defendant alongside Epstein for tying up, abusing, and penetrating 13-year-old who had 3 witnesses confirm the acts on her. God, that's fucking horrible. That's brutal. That's really fucking brutal. Shimmer Inspections. What? Epstein not dead? I know. I'm sorry. I just took you down a little rabbit hole. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. But it's possible. It's possible. Right? Come to India, visit India. Oh, I would love to. Honestly, I would love to. I know you got a lot of people. And I know there's a lot of problems. I don't care. I really do. India is calling. But I'm a little concerned about these Pakistani radicals up in the hills that keep fucking with you guys. What the fuck is going on with these guys up there in the hills? They got the wild Pakis. I think didn't China arm the wild Pakis in the mountains? I watched some video. You guys exchanged missiles. Trump even bought Epstein's plane and wished Jizzy, I call her Jizzy, Ghislaine, well, true. That was suspicious, wasn't it? Ricky Laprelle, Trump even bought Epstein's plane and wished Ghislaine. It was weird how he said it. Well, I wish her well. It was like, you could tell he almost had a sincere, like almost an emotional kind of feeling about it, like a friend. And he was friendly with her. He knew her. He said it recently. He said, I've met her like a dozen times. We lived in the same city. I knew her. He knew her. Now, did he know about all this dark stuff? Eyes are watering. Eyes are burning. I've been going too long. It's 2 hours. I got to jump off here, guys. Let's just try to wrap it up. I think I'm done reading that. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention about Oregon. Because that's one of the struggles is we're fighting to we've been sued, or I say we, just the state of Oregon, the government of Oregon's been sued because they're not getting inmates who are critically mentally ill into state hospitals fast enough. And they've been dying in jails in Portland. And that's like old kind of news, but the litigation is still current. So this actually, it addresses not only what Trump's executive order is directly from a Supreme Court order, right out of a 6-3 decision from a grants pass Oregon case, directly from it. That's why he's doing this. And now we've got the other part of it about freeing up people that need to be committed, making it easier. Governor Tina, to give her a little credit, I got a whole lot of criticism about her. I mean, there's lots of stuff. The corruption with the unions, all that shit, unacceptable. But there's a couple of things I want to give her credit for, and she deserves respect for it. And that's her addressing the homeless crisis and her making an attempt to make it easier to commit people who are obviously severely mentally ill and they need psychiatric facility holds. It's very difficult in Oregon to put that hold on people. You get 72 hours. And if you get a 72-hour hold. That's it. And then they got to go. The law won't let them hold them. I say hold them for 30 days. I say hold them for longer. Shimmer says people are too easily manipulated. You said it, brother. The dude will skip over everything. Just wait. To say Trump don't know what was involved in a huge stretch. 1 + 1 = 2. If your best friend was involved in stuff like that, hundreds of powerful clients, Trump knew, man, don't fool yourself. Not really fooling myself. I'm a little bit skeptical of saying that Trump knew that minors were being used in a honeypot Mossad operation to trap higher ups. I can't buy that. Was Trump aware of escorts and young, beautiful, consenting escorts and prostitutes? I think so. I think he was okay with that. He knew it came with the territory. You could call it unethical and immoral. It probably is. I mean, right? But it's consenting adults. They're beautiful women who are paid thousands of dollars to rock their world. Some call that marriage, Divorced dad finds out you can go live on YouTube. Allah is the only real God, not any Jesus. All right, Golu Kumar. So much brain gymnastics to fool your sense. All right. Quite talking about things you know nothing about. Communism. All right. Seduce? Dude, do the math. Bro, he clearly did. Epstein said it, not Dims. If Clinton did it, jail him too. All of them should be in jail. I agree. Anybody that harmed children, I think it should be worse than jail. I think we're looking at capital punishment. People say, that's not Christian. That's not Christian. I don't really care if that's Christian or not. If you harm children, you deserve to die. Done. How you want to die? I don't know. Do we give them a choice? I say firing squad. He chose to hang out with PDF. Trump's plane was purchased from Epstein at a friend's discount. It wasn't just Trump riding the Epstein plane. Okay. You might know some things I don't know. I'm not saying I'm an expert about any of this, guys. Worth a serious investigation. Hello, Uncle. Rapid Philspo? You got an uncle or am I your uncle? Who's your daddy? We got radicals here in Oregon, bro. Fuck yeah, Keegan Bike. Fuck yeah, we do. They're not just radicals. We're talking about, it goes to painting. We're talking about sociopaths, brother. We're talking about homicidal sociopaths that are actually threatening to kill people and have killed people in downtown Portland in 2020. Not just radicals, brother. We're talking about real criminals like any other mafia that we've ever encountered. Can you shout out my new fiance, Imani German? SP, everyone, shout out. Imani German, God bless you. Hey, you're going to marry a very, very good person. We hope. India destroyed Pakistan's nuclear weapons, at least some of them. I saw that. They blew up the entrance to in fact, I think there was detection of radiation, Bob John. Is that what you heard too? I think I saw that and heard that. It was a couple months ago, right? Was it last month or 2 months ago? Did you see Imani German was on the list? Imani German! Imani! Free Ghislaine! Rob Mack comes in. Free Jizzy! Radiation was detected afterwards. Bob John nailed it. Confirmation. That's what I heard. Nobody talked about that, right? You notice how that all kind of got hush-hush. It's like everything went quiet over there in Pakistan and India. And then Marco Rubio declares victory and Trump did another diplomatic peace accord. And I'm like, wait, what? Free Jizzy. It's not about knowing, it's about following orders or else. Laugh my ass off. Cole. Ha ha ha, ignored my message with evidence. Ha ha ha, fake stream. All right, fuck Republicans. Have a good one, buddy. Sleep well. She got girls for Trump. Of course he knew. Bro, Pfeffer, rocker, rugga. I think Governor Germain is at fault. Fake stream. The subject changed so quick when I got to my Black Book message. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with Black Book messages, man. I didn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein at all, to be honest, but I'm open, whatever you guys want to talk about. And I really don't like talking about the shots because it kills the reach. You know, instead of going into reaching thousands of people in a live stream, which the last couple of them I've had several thousand people reach, we're going to get just a few hundred just because of that. It's an artificial intelligence sensor. So when you start talking about it and you start saying Pfizer did this and Pfizer did that and the shots do this and the shots do that, you're done. You're toasted. So it's a real manipulation. I don't mind it because I'm not really here for the reach or the clicks. I really like to just kind of speak my mind. It's almost therapeutic. I always say that. I go, it's therapeutic for me to talk about these issues. And it's also therapeutic for a lot of other people to come in and post their opinions and talk about it. Down with Amani Germain. I thought you were marrying her. Ghislaine is innocent. Hey, dude, we watched you on Grindr last night. Oh, fuck. Fuck you. Get out of here. Rob, you're a predator defender. Oh, boy. Do us a favor and do some more research into Trump. Oh, okay, buddy. They're not consenting. They're children. Yeah. Any children, if they're under 18, I've spoke how my opinions on that. I'm pretty solid about that. I think that's fair. You don't fuck with the children. Okay? I've worked with at-risk youth my entire life. My entire life has been dedicated tracking down people that are hurting my clients. Okay? So you're barking up the wrong fucking tree there, Cole. And they were children. Okay, we got that defined. Imagine if that was your daughter, man. Of course not. What is all this? How far back are we? God, we got buried there. Ruck no she. This dude doesn't believe in free speech when it doesn't align with him. Dude, you are fucking, you're a douche. Just beat it. Get the fuck out of here, buddy. I'm sick of your shit. You're going to come here and just be a fucking punk, Cole? It's not about you, dude. It's not about you. We're talking about world things. We're talking about things going on. If you want to come in here and just be a punk bitch, get the fuck out of here. Find the door, chump. Go get your own live stream. Go get your own fucking life together, all right, Cole? Get the fuck out of here. Y'all call pedophiles minor attracted peoples and defend them. I don't. Fuck no, I don't. All right, you guys, we got a bunch of trolls and a bunch of dipshits in here. Fuck you guys. I'm going to close it on out. You guys, be safe, be real, and don't let the jackasses get into your mind. Praise God. Peace out.